The reality is it's very hard to eat outside the corn kingdom. For some reason, on a whim, Ian and I decided to try to make it through the month of November without eating any processed corn products whatsoever. And it's been an incredible challenge so far. I've been hungry for about 2 weeks. And we're doing this thing that we call the King Corn Challenge. And so the reality of that is that I've had to throw out most of what was in my refrigerator and in my cupboards. And even my toothpaste contained sorbitol, which is a corn-based sweetener. So the good news is we're eating real food. I mean, I bought a carrot at the convenience store last week for 15 cents, and that was my afternoon snack instead of a bag of chips. And we're buying grass-fed, grass-finished beef and cooking that at home, which, unless you sort of make a conscious effort to do it, you won't ever try it. So there's an opportunity out there to test yourself and see if you can make it through this month of not eating corn. And more than anything, it turns out to be an incredible educational experience about just how pervasive corn is in our diet. This is my mom's larder here, where she keeps all the food for the family. And it looks good. Some barbecue sauce with corn syrup. Some cranberry sauce. Thanksgiving's coming. Oh, high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup on that one. This is the good stuff. This is all right here. Golden sweet kernel corn. Just corn, water, sugar, and salt. I'm okay with that one. Oh, corn flakes here. Looks like pure corn, but milled corn, sugar, malt flavoring, high fructose corn syrup, and salt. This one, the A1, is corn syrup, sure enough, along with caramel color, which comes from corn. It's hard to avoid this stuff. It's an unbelievable challenge that we have now, where the most affordable food is the least healthy food for us. And as a result, in this day and age, for the first time in world history, obesity is associated with poverty. And the rates of type 2 diabetes among lower income Americans are higher than among the wealthy Americans. It's not just kings and princes who are fat these days. It's everyone, and in particular, it's minorities and lower income populations. And that's largely a result of this flood of processable commodity crops and processed food into our diet. So to me, the real challenge is, how do we find solutions that don't just make healthy food available to wealthy people, but that make healthy food available to everyone in the schools, in the hospitals, and on the street corners of the urban neighborhoods and the rural towns.
If you take that meal, you take that McDonald's meal, you don't realize it when you eat it, but you're eating corn. Beef has been corn-fed. Soda is corn. It's all high fructose corn syrup. That's the main ingredient. Even the French fries, which are, half the calories in the French fries come from the fat that they're fried in, and that fat is liable to be corn oil or soy oil. And so when you're at that McDonald's, you're eating Iowa food. Everything on your plate is corn.
Our food system is in a tight spot right now, which is we have gotten really, really good at growing cheap food. But the cheap food we're good at growing is fast food. And the challenge in the next generation is, how do we make cheap, healthy food available to everyone? Not just a sort of two-food system culture where wealthy people on the coasts or in Midwestern college towns have organic, locally grown food from family farms. But a system in which the big farms in the Midwest get a chance to be sustainable, and farmers get a chance to take back some sense of pride at growing real food, not growing high fructose corn syrup. And the big middle of our diet, the corn and soybeans and wheat that make up the bulk of what we actually are consuming, we need those to become sustainable and healthy in a new way.
Do you see a movement in that direction?
I do. I mean, there's incredible new ingenuity coming out of places like Iowa, where there are wonderful groups, Practical Farmers of Iowa or the Leopold Center at Iowa State, thinking all the time about how can we make a new kind of family farm agriculture that really grows good food.
Well, it does look like the Farm Bill isn't going to feature a lot of change, although it is movement in the right direction. Are you going to continue your quest sort of to educate people to where their food comes from and what they're eating? I mean, has that become a passion?
Very much so. I mean, changing the Farm Bill is a very slow process, but when it changes, it will be an incredibly powerful thing. And the writing is on the wall that that will happen. And whether it's this year or 4 or 5 years from now, it's going to happen. We have policies in place now that are based on a perceived scarcity that just doesn't exist. And the new kind of policies that we'll have in the next generation have to reflect the realities of this time, which are an obesity epidemic rather than a Great Depression. And I do believe that will happen soon. And I'm certainly going to do everything I can to help that kind of change come into being. Good thing is these don't contain any corn whatsoever, so I can just have about as much as I want.